तत्परं पर्यय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात् ॐ योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरि गुरु महाराज की जय. Namaste, namaskaram, vanakkam, bonjour, buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, amore, boreda, kia ora. Nice to see all of you on the other side of the screen, and it's very special when you all connect with me, and our Saturdays have been wonderful occasions to connect. In these times where human-to-human, face-to-face connection has been diminished because of the pandemic, to be able to connect and to relate to each other, at least Facebook to Facebook, if not face-to-face, I think is very reassuring. The topic we are looking at today is Nama Rupa. And over the past few weeks, I have been seeing a lot of people having issues with the usage of Sanskrit in yoga. I think this stems from a lack of understanding more than anything. And I believe that we need to put things out in a new perspective for people to realize why it is important to use the yogic terms as they are meant to be used. We think we can call it anything we want, and often you find people quoting a rose by any name will smell as sweet. And Ammaji used to often talk about this because this is a common occurrence that people think, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what I call it, it's going to be the same. And this goes to the extent Ammaji used to quote from Alice in Wonderland, a statement where I think it was the queen or someone there in that. She says, I will call things whatever I want, and whatever I call them, that's what they are. And I think this has actually become very common these days that we think we can call it whatever we want, and it doesn't matter. Now, this idea that I can call it whatever I want and it doesn't matter stems from avidya, ignorance. It comes from what is called mithya jnanam, false knowledge, and a lot of the tamasika guna that says, why should I change the way I do it? Nama. Okay? Nama is literally translated as name in English. Rupa is literally translated as form. So, just at the very surface, if you scratch Nama Rupa, it means the relationship between name and form. In the Buddhist philosophy, Nama Rupa becomes one entity. But here we are talking about two aspects that are interconnected. Nama is the vibrational essence of the thing. I know it's not good to call things things. You're supposed to give them correct names. If you say all those things, it means you don't know what they are called. But anyway, here actually the word thing makes very good sense. Anything. Okay? Anything in this universe, it has a vibrational essence. Everything. Because the universe is vibration. The universe is vibration. Hence, everything in this universe, living and non-living, manifest and non-manifest, everything has its own vibration. The vibrational essence of that thing is what Nama is. So Nama is the vibrational essence that can be expressed by us through our limited vocal apparatus. As a human being, our vocal apparatus and the sound production that we can make is very limited. I often remind people because we tend to forget. It's easy to forget. So Ammaji says, remember to remember. There is a verse in the Yoga Sutra. Tasya vachakaha pranavaha. And this refers to Ishvara, the pure consciousness. And Maharishi Patanjali is saying that when you want to understand the essence of Ishvara, there is a vibrational essence that you can chant, vachakaha, you can chant through your vocal apparatus, and that is pranava. So immediately everybody says, oh, so Ishvara, the name of Ishvara is pranava, the sound of Ishvara is pranava, the name of God is Om. You get all of these confusions. What actually Maharishi Patanjali is saying is, Ishvara has a vibrational essence. When you want to invoke Ishvara, you can make a sound with your vocal apparatus, vachakaha, and that is the pranava. Your making the pranava will set up a ripple effect that goes from gross, because the spoken word is a gross expression. It will go from the stula sukshma to the karana, from the gross through the subtle to the causal, and that ripple effect will manifest at the highest vibration, which is Ishvara. Ishvara is at such a high vibration, you cannot make the sound of Ishvara. Can you make subsonic and supersonic sounds? No. When you cannot even make subsonic and supersonic, how are you going to make the vibration of Ishvara? You cannot. But the closest human approximation, that is like you throwing a stone in the water. You throw a stone in the water, it goes and plonk. That is the plonk is what you are chanting. Your vachaka is the plonk. But then it sets up the ripple effects that go from gross through subtle to causal, and at the causal layer, and well beyond that also, is where the vibration becomes Ishvara. So your intonation of the pranava, Om, sets up the ripple effect that then reaches Ishvara. It's not Ishvara being, oh yeah, so I say Om and it's Ishvara. No. You have set up the plonk effect, the ripple effect. Similarly, everything in this cosmos has a vibration. That vibrational essence is the Nama, and that Nama is at our level. We have different levels of speech. There are 4 levels. Parapashyanti and all, you have heard of that. What happens, Vaikari is what we are making. Okay. Vaikari is what we are making at our level. This is what we are making. So the utterance at our level is the Vaikari. There is Parapashyanti and all that. So what we need to look at is that we are making a sound with the human vocal apparatus. And Sanskrit is the best language in its usage of the whole vocal apparatus. The way the consonants are placed, the guttural, the way it comes from the back of the throat right to the lips and then nasal. It's amazing the structure. The kaka, gaga, chacha, jaja, tata, dada, tata, dada, tata, dada, and then the yara, lava. The way it flows from the back of the throat to the front, it's a very beautiful way it flows. And the sound that is being made from the nabi. The nabi, kanta, rasana, nasa. 5 places. What are the 5 places? Nabi, from the navel center, the solar plexus. It is the diaphragmatic action that kickstarts the production of sound. Ha, 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 nabi. It has to come to the heart. It should not just be a sound from the belly. It should be a heartful one. So the belly sound becomes a heartful sound. It comes into the throat. Vak Vishuddha, where the speech component is activated through the Vishuddha chakra and purified by Sadashiva, Lord Shiva himself. That's why he is called Vak Vishuddhaya Dhimahi. Tanmaheshaya Vidmahi, Vak Vishuddhaya Dhimahi. Then it comes to the Rasana, the tongue. And then it comes to the nose. And Saint Tyagaraja sings, Nabi, Kanta Rasana, Nabi, Kanta Rasana, Nabi, Kanta Rasana, Nasadulayanto, Nabi, Kanta Rasana, Nasadulayanto, Shobillu Sapta Swara, Sapta Swara, all the 7 notes. Navi Kantarasana Nasadulayanto Shobillu Saptagaswara Sundarulam Bajimbave Manasa Sobillu Sapta Swara. To Sapta Swaras, all the musical notes, where do they come from? Nabi, the navel center, the solar plexus, the diaphragmatic action, come through the heart. Then they are vocalized. They are then modulated by the tongue. And finally, they are uplifted by the nasal output. This is how song has to come. This is how music has to come. This is how the nada comes. And this is how, when we utter something, we are bringing all of this together. But we are only working at the Vaikari level. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, all that level we are not touching. But your work at the Vaikari, powered by the intent, starts to then modulate it. So you go from gross to subtle to causal. Nama. So Nama is not a label. The problem when you translate it, and this is why more and more I'm agreeing with the fact that so many things cannot be translated. Nama is not just name. Dharma is not just duty. Karma is not just fate. We have got, yoga is not just exercise. We have got so stuck with these one word English translations that are not even chalk compared to cheese. And people love eating chalk, I think, because they are calcium deficient. When you are calcium deficient, you eat all the chalk. In Indian schools in the villages, you will find kids, they go and eat all the chalk. So the teacher comes in, there's no chalk to write on the board because the chalk is made of calcium. And when they have calcium deficiency, it's called pica. And so the kids go and eat the chalk. And the teacher comes, there's no chalk because all the kids have eaten it. Calcium deficiency. We have to be very careful. Nama is the essence, the vibrational essence that you are invoking when you use that nama. So when I use a nama, I am invoking. The word here is invocation. Invoking. So you are evoking, but it is from invoking. Okay, invocation. The invocation is where you are uttering the human approximation at Vaikari level of the sound that is the closest human approximation to the vibrational essence of that thing you are invoking. Now, this has nothing to do with name. When you say name, we just think, okay, yeah, it's called that. A tree is called a tree, a cat is called a cat, a cow is called a cow. And so if I call it cat, cow, what does it matter? Well, it matters. It matters. I'm very surprised with this cat-cow business because in my limited knowledge, in the Western world, if you call someone a cow, it's an abusive term, okay? And then you go to a class and everybody's doing cat-cow. I think it's ridiculous when you look at it. It's as ridiculous as down dog, okay? Down dog, up dog, cat, cow. I'm restraining Mr. Hyde, gangster yogi, trying to only be Dr. Ananda, Dr. Jekyll today. Nama, so Nama is the vibrational essence. At our level, Nama is our vocalization of a sound within our limits. Vocalization of a sound that resonates with the vibrational essence. So when I am uttering the Nama, I am basically telling the universe. It refers to your intent and the expression of intent. Whenever people want to have an agreement with others and sign an agreement in business, they say a letter of intent. A letter of intent. An expression of intent. And then they start to have a talk and they sign a memorandum of understanding and they start business together. Similarly, you are telling the universe, here is my letter of intent when you utter the Nama. The Nama and its utterance by you, is an expression of your intent to the universe. I am calling upon a certain vibration. When you say Shiva, you are telling the universe, I want that vibration of Shiva consciousness. I am calling upon it. When you say Narayana, I am calling upon that essence of Narayana, the sustenance of the universe. When I say Rama, Rama, I am calling upon that essence of the universe that has incarnated in human form. What an calling upon! You are invoking by utilizing the Nama. And the universe says, oh, that is what you want. Because when a Nama is given in Sanskrita, in Sanskrit when that name is given, it is not just somebody felt like calling it something, so they called it that. The name itself, the Nama itself, is like a coded version of that pure energy. It is a coded version. So when you say Vriksha, which is a tree in translation, Vriksha is not just someone said, okay, let's call it Vriksha. When you utter the Nama Vriksha, the vibrational essence of a Vriksha is brought into play. It is like a password that opens you up to the treasure that lies within. So Nama as a password. You need the correct password if you want to open the correct thing. Wrong password will not open the right thing. If you have a Google password and it is different than the Facebook password, your Facebook password will not work on Google and Google will not on Facebook. Because you were not putting in the correct password. The password, now of course, when I say password, we just make anything we want, but I'm giving, just to give you that clue here. When we utter the nama, it is like we are opening the door and window to that vibrational essence, and we are suddenly connected to that vibrational essence. That is the power of nama. It is not name calling. It is vibrational essence invoking. You are invoking that which you are calling. You are invoking. Now, when you invoke, when you call somebody, there will be a response. Now, for example, Aishwarya is there. And I say, Aishwarya, and she'll say, yes, Dr. Ananda. But if I say, Geeta, Aishwarya will not respond. If there's somebody called Geeta, they may respond. And I'm to Aishwarya, I've been calling you for 1 hour, you are not responded. She said, I never heard you call my name. You never called me, you never invoked me. You were busy saying Geeta, 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 and there's no Geeta here. So nobody showed up. If I want to call Aishwarya, I need to say Aishwarya, and then she will say, yes, Dr. Ananda, as she is typed now. If I want Mugs, I have to say Mugs. I cannot say, Gurlin, and Mugs will not come. Gurlin may say, yes, Dr. Ananda. See, what you call, what you invoke is what you will evoke. You evoke. Evocation is the manifestation. Evoke is to manifest. You evoke that which you invoke. In case you missed it, I'm going to repeat it. You evoke that which you invoke. So when you invoke something, the evocation of that thing will happen, and then that thing starts to materialize. So you are evoking certain vibrational essence through your invocation. And this is where the nama produces the rupa. Rupa is the manifestation. The evoked manifestation. You are manifesting that which you have invoked. We have forgotten this. We have really forgotten this. You want to manifest something, you have to invoke it. If you keep on calling somebody a devil, a devil, a devil, you will manifest the devil in them. People give these pet names. Oh my God, the pet names people give each other, frightening. Pinky, monkey, donkey, linky. Oh, it's weird, I tell you. I tell you the weird names people give each other. As someone said, when I posted this morning, they said, I'm still calling my grown-up son baby. Well, you are invoking baby, and so you are evoking baby in him. He'll always be a small baby as far as your relationship goes. He may be a great person outside, but for you and him, it's only baby all the time. You will never see his mature side at all. You evoke that which you call. If you keep on calling somebody Pinky, 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 very common name. You have to be very careful. If you keep on calling somebody something, you are manifesting that, and then you say, oh, why are you like that? Because you have called that. You have evoked by invoking. We all know this when we want to get something from someone. We're so nice to them. Darling, dear, will you please do that for me? And you evoke that nice part of the other person so that they can Do what you want. Hmm? Darling, will you please do that for me? Huh? Get it done. If you say, you idiot, do it for me. What are your chances of getting it done? Huh? You know, we know this. When we want something from someone, we are so nice. So nice. Huh? And it happens. If you say, hey, you goddamn idiot, lazy bum, do that for me. The person's going to be that lazy bum and stay on the backside and not do anything. That is what you have evoked in that person by your invocation. Swamiji used to talk about a guy who came to visit him. And this guy had not had a bath in ages, and there was such a bad stink that everybody in the ashram ran away except Swamiji. Swamiji loved meeting people, so he would let people come and meet him and all. And he asked this guy, he said, what's your name? And the person said, my name is Pig Pen. Pig Pen, you heard me right? Pig Pen. Swamiji is like, seriously, you are a Pig Pen. Swamiji was the original gangster yogi. He said, you have manifested Pig Pen for sure. He said, but is that really your name? The guy said, well, that's what my friends used to call me, and I had actually a name, and he became Pig Pen. And his friends called him Pig Pen, and he became Pig Pen. You have to be very careful with what you let people call you. If somebody keeps on calling you an idiot, 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 you become an idiot in relation to them at least. I have 3 parts to my name. Well, actually 4 parts. One is the Ananda. The second is the Bala Yogi. The third is the Bhavanani. And this Bala Yogi often gets split into Bala and Yogi. So during my school days, prior to school days in the ashram, most of the kids would call me Ananda. Now what happens is, if you're not careful, and kids are, very careless in pronunciation, instead of calling Ananda, they used to end up with Anda. And my father got really mad. He said, Anda means an egg. I don't want my son to be an egghead. Stop calling him an egghead. Anda means an egg. Okay, Ananda. Then I went to school, and in school, because there were other Anandas, Bala Yogi became the reference point to me. So most of my schoolmates, my teachers, people who worked in school would call me Bala Yogi. Some of them who knew me closely, it was Bala. Some of them Yogi. It tells you that even at that time, I sort of was on my own journey. By the time it came to college, it was again Ananda. And now, in official circles, it's Dr. Bhavanani. Now, someone calling me Ananda is very different. What they invoke and evoke out of me. What they evoke out of me by invoking Ananda is different. When somebody says Bala, somebody says Yogi, somebody says Bhavanani, Dr. Bhavanani. When my loving kids at Yoganjali say Dr. Sir, it's very different. When Divya Anandraj say Appa, Anandraj loves this dad. He's stuck with the dad these days. What comes out is different. Each person is evoking out of me something different by what they call me. Very, very interesting. And I have seen this again and again. And when you get into the power of Yantra and Nama Darshana, that is one course that has to come out soon, because we have had 2 batches of Yantra. And I know many of you want to go to the next level, which is Nama Darshana, understanding Nama, and how the different qualities start to come out when you call it differently. And Ananda brings out a very different quality than Anand. That A at the end The presence and absence of the "a" at the end changes what is evoked. It is so refined. And this is something that we often forget, that small changes in what we are called bring out different qualities. Because the Rupa is the manifest form. And when you say manifest form, it's not just what you look like, it's everything about you, three-dimensional, multi-dimensional being. So Rupa is not just what you look like, because when we translate Rupa as form, you think it's only what you look like. It's what you look like, it's like what you act like, what you smell like, what you taste like. All the qualities are part of that Rupa when it manifests. The manifestation is the Rupa. Nama creates the Rupa. What you invoke creates the evocation, that which is manifest. So if you don't want to manifest something in someone, don't call them that. Because the more you call them that, yes, I have some friends who call me Dr. Bliss, and which is very funny. When they call me Dr. Bliss, Josh is one of them. Susie and Josh loves to say Dr. Bliss. That's his version of me. And well, he brings out a different part of me when he calls me that. But I often think about it. That's so funny because Swamiji and Ammaji, before I was born, they had a small lemur. A lemur is a small, basically a monkey, but it's not really a monkey. It's more, it's huge eyes. And they had a small one, and Amma actually had a pet lemur that she used to carry in her pocket. And wherever they went, the lemur went with them and was always a big attraction. People used to come and always asked, can we see your monkey? Go up to Amma and say, I want to see your monkey. We have to take her out, and then there's a crowd who wants to see him. And that little guy was called Mr. Bliss. Okay, so before Dr. Ananda was born to Swamiji and Ammaji, they had Mr. Bliss. And so Mr. Bliss was his name. This guy was quite blissful. He was nocturnal, so he would stay up at night and sleep in the day. And his eating of flies was what used to really embarrass Ammaji a lot. He used to enjoy eating flies with his tongue and other things. He then one day just disappeared, and after he disappeared, then I appeared. So who knows? Mr. Bliss gave way for Dr. Ananda to manifest. You have to be very careful what you allow people to call you. When you allow people to call you something which is abusive, and this is why I get so upset about down dog, up dog, cat cow, because people don't realize the power of all of this. They really have no idea the power behind what you call someone. And you have to be very careful what you call somebody, because that is the quality you're going to invoke and then evoke in them. And because Samskrita and the Sanatana Dharma culture understood it, we were very careful what would be the name given to someone. When a child was born, great care was taken in giving them the appropriate nama so that the appropriate rupa would be manifest in their life. Nowadays, we have lost it in modern India. We give names based on, celebrities and cinema stars and sports stars. And you ask most of the kids, what is the meaning of your name? They don't even know it. Recently, I asked a kid and I was very happy that she understood the essence of her name. It was very, very beautiful that she could understand it. Because so many times people don't understand. Imagine a name like Vijay. Vijay. And you say, what does your name mean? And they say, yeah, it's the name of the famous film actor. I'm like, seriously? You don't even know what Vijay means. That victory of the highest nature manifesting in your life, and instead you are just associated with a celluloid hero who doesn't even want to pay his, tax properly. What is happening with us? A beautiful name, Shri Devi. It refers to goddess Lakshmi herself, Shri herself. That amazing prosperity of Shri in a human form, in a feminine human form. And you ask people who is Sridevi, film actress who died sleeping in her bathroom. We have sort of lost it. We have lost the plot in modern India. The modern Indian has lost the plot, and it's scary because we have forgotten the importance of Nama and how it evokes the Rupa. And yes, the Hanumana, as Ananta has pointed out to me, Hanumana, that Nama itself, the Jambavan, he evokes, he brings out of Hanuman his essence. And then Hanuman comes alive. The real Hanuman stands up to be counted at that point. When the Nama, and this is why the Samskrita Nama, the names in Sanskrit, they are the manifest sound of the unmanifest vibration. And the Jnana Drishti, the Viveka Drishti, the Jnana Drishti that the Rishis had. Rishis are people who can perceive the highest. That's the real meaning of a Rishi, the seer, the one who can perceive the highest. And they said, this is the vibration. What is the closest human approximation in our sound making apparatus that can approximate to this? And the Nama came alive. The Nama came as a result of their Drishta. They were able to have the Drishti and perceive. Their Jnana Drishti, Viveka Drishti, Mantra Drishti. And the mantras came into form. Mantras were not just, oh, I'm going to sit down and write poetry. No. They were the expressions at our vocal level of the unexpressed vibration, so that when you express at the vocal level, you set up that Planck effect and the ripple effect, and the unmanifest will become manifest. You want to evoke something. You understand what the vibration of that which you want to evoke is. You find the closest human approximation that you can make, so that when you make this formula, the mantra is a formula, what is happening? The universe says, slow down a bit, Ananda. This is usually where the internet gods strike me down on behalf of the universe. These things have to be said, okay? These things have to be understood. There is that vibration, unmanifest. The rishis have perceived that unmanifest vibration by the sadhana, by the tapasya. And then they found what is the human approximation we can make for it. And the mantras came into being. The mantras came into being as a result of the vision the rishis had of what they wanted to evoke. And then they realized, here is a mantra. So someone who wants to chant this mantra, by chanting that mantra, they can set up the ripple effect. Your chanting is at the stula level, the gross level. You are setting up a sukshma. You are setting up a sukshma ripple that goes into the causal ripple, and suddenly that which was unmanifest can become manifest. That is why the power of mantra is there. And that is why Om Shanti 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 evokes something very different than Om Peace Peace Peace. Because the danger with the word peace is it sounds very similar to P-I-E-C-E, peace. And so the universe gets confused. It says, do you want to be at peace or be in pieces? And this is the big danger with some of these sounds. The pakara, the pa, is an explosive sound, peace. And so even in trying to have peace, you have gone to war. Peace. And it's the typical stuff that American presidents do is they go to war to create peace. You can never create peace through war. And human beings will never learn it. We have not learned it, we will not learn it because we have decided not to learn from past mistakes. The word Shantam, Shantam, has already that peacefulness in it. Shantam, Yengum Shantam, Yedilum Shantam, Yengum Shantam, Yedilum Shantam, Tedum Manidagal. We are looking for that. Yengum Shantam, Yedilum Shantam. Everywhere we want that Shantam. In everything we want Shantam. Peace. You have blown people to pieces. Peace, peace, peace. The danger is in that, oh, what does it matter? I don't like Sanskrit, so I'm just going to say peace, peace, peace. Well, it's not going to evoke that same thing, I'm sorry. It's not going to evoke that same thing. When you say Vyaghra, you have invoked and you have evoked that amazing tiger quality. The quality of a supple tiger. And if you look at that leap of the tiger, just sitting there and zoom, that power of the leap of the tiger, you have invoked inside yourself, evoked it. Cat cow. Down dog. Poor dogs and poor cats and cows. I'm not saying you should not translate for understanding. What I'm saying is, understand, yes, Shantam is there. What is Shantam? What is the essence? And the closest word we know for now is peace. But then can we start to take it a bit further? Because Shantam is a state of being. Shantam is a state of being. It is like ahimsa is a state of being. It's not just non-violence. When we say peace, what we actually mean is the absence of discord. But Shantam is not like that. The closest I would come is a sense of peacefulness. If I can sort of expand it a bit, I keep on trying to find correlates that can help us understand better. Shantam is more a state of peacefulness. Peacefulness, not just peace, peacefulness. Ahimsa is a state of non-violentness. Non-violentness. Even a violent tendency will not arise in you. Even a violent tendency will not arise in you because you are in a state of non-violentness. That is ahimsa. Not saying that, oh, I want to kill him, I'm not going to kill him, so I'm following ahimsa. That is the LKG kindergarten level of ahimsa. The real ahimsa is where even the thought of violence doesn't arise in you. Because you are in that state of being which is the state of non-violentness. Peacefulness. What a beautiful concept that is there. Shantam. That is what you want to invoke. And you want that to be invoked. Why do you chant 3 times? At the gross, subtle and causal layer, you want it to be evoked. In all the 3 planes of existence, 3 is the number of so many things. Gunatraya, Dehatraya, Kalatraya. The gunas, the threefold gunas. Gunatraya. Dehatraya, the 3 bodies. Kalatraya, there are 3 aspects of time. And all these, Avastatraya, the Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti, all of these are there. And what do you want to do? You want to make sure that that peacefulness manifests, that Shantam manifests at all of these levels. All 3 gunas should be at peace. All 3 doshas should be at peace. All 3 bodies should be at peace. Past, present and future should be at peace. And that is why we chant Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And when we celebrate Diwali in the ashram, we go around the ashram with lighted lamps. That's the day that Shanti, our cook, gets very happy because she thinks we are all chanting her name 1008 times. And so we get very good food on Diwali. We are going around the ashram and we are chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And when you go around the ashram chanting this, you create that amazing, you manifest such a beautiful state of peacefulness, tranquility, ease, harmony. All of those qualities are part of Shantam. When people come into the ashram, they say, I just feel good when I come in. It's all the chanting over so many years. The all-night Om chanting, where we chant. All the morning aartis, invoking all those amazing qualities. You evoke them and they start to manifest. Now, this even has neurophysiological correlates. And Shailaja in Malaysia yesterday mentioned that this is something typically I do, is give the cultural, the yogic, the philosophical, and then I bring in also a bit of the scientific correlate. We have something in electrophysiology. Electrophysiology deals with the electrical impulses at our cellular level. So we have machines where you can actually measure changes in your brain. And these changes are called evoked potential, EPs. EVOKED, evoked potential. So potential basically means a change in electrical activity at your cellular level. Because your cells have electrical activity, don't forget that. We are having, those electrical activities at the cellular level because of the changes in the anions and cations, sodium, potassium, chloride. The chloride shift, the sodium goes in, potassium comes out. Sodium and potassium don't like each other. So when one goes in, the other comes out. When one, they keep on saying, if he's there, I'm not coming there. Either he or me, it's that. And chloride says, okay, who cares? One of you guys come. It's one of those type of things. Maybe I should change that around, but okay, let's not get into gender issues here. Whether sodium and potassium are male and chloride female, or whether chloride is male and sodium, potassium are female. I leave it to your vivid imagination. The changes in the cation anion transport across the cellular membrane. That is why our cells have a membrane, and that membrane is where all this is happening. The most important part of you is actually the cellular membrane. That's where everything is happening. These changes create what are called electrical potentials. These are action potentials. You have resting membrane potential. That is, the resting membrane potential is where, they are sort of trying to find balance. And then you have action potentials where suddenly it is stimulated. And so what is happening is that sodium, potassium shift occurs and suddenly the graph goes up, down and all of that. Later on, you measure this at different levels. In the heart, the electrical activity, ECG, electrocardiogram. In the brain, EEG, electroencephalogram. At the muscle level, electromyelogram. It's there. But we forget that we are having all this electrical activity. So you can actually put electrodes on your brain, the external surface, of course. And those electrodes that you place can measure the changes occurring in different parts of your brain, the cortical part of your brain, when you have certain inputs, sensory inputs. So we have something called a visual evoked potential, VEP, visual evoked potential. And so we have somebody watch a screen, and the back of the head, which is the part of the cortex to do with your seeing, your visual cortex, the occipital lobe, the back, we measure the activity happening here when you are watching that screen. That is a flicker screen. And it's basically a black and white. It's like a chessboard that keeps on alternating. The black square becomes white, the white square becomes black. And we measure what is happening in your occipital cortex, your visual cortex, when you are seeing something. I used to always joke, why not show them some nice movie and measure it? But for the standardization, you have to have black and white squares alternating. This is the problem when you standardize anything. It's the modern zest. We have to standardize yoga. And make it black and white boxes instead of that beautiful panoramic, colorful vision that it has. That's okay. That's for another day. Mr. Hyde, gangster case, I'm saying. We are being nice today. Hide. Hide, hide. Hide the hide. The second one, auditory evoked potential. Audition is sound, auditory. So the area on the side where you have your auditory cortex, where you process the impulses of sound through the vestibulocochlear nerve and all, what happens is that you start to play some sound. And again, why not some nice music? No, we have to standardize it. So you make it bing, 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 bing. Weird. But anyway, standardization. Take the music out of yoga and make it monotonous. Take the colors out of yoga and make it black and white, checker box. Standardization. So what happens is you have the sound, the auditory impulse, sound, and you see what are the potentials evoked auditorily. So visual evoked potential, auditory evoked potential, and then we give you a small electrical shock. It's not painful, but it's unpleasant. And I love Professor Krishnamurthy sir, who used to work in JIPMA. Before doing this for anybody, he would check on himself what was the level of the unpleasantness. A great human being. He would check it before he put it on anybody, because he wanted to make sure that nobody was, having something which was more than their level. So he used to check himself. A very great man. Noble human being, Professor Krishnamurthy sir, who was a JIPMA, then went to PIMS. A very, very noble human being. Somato, it is called somatosensory evoked potential. And what you do is that you are evoking now in your sensory motor homunculus, the sensory homunculus, these upside down people hanging in your head, always screeching, and so you hear voices in your head, that homunculus area. So you start to give this mild electrical shock, and it sends a sensory impulse to the sensory cortex, and you measure the evoked potential in the sensory cortex. Sensory evoked, somatosensory evoked potentials. Sensory evoked potentials. So these evoked potentials are measured physiologically. So you give a stimulus. Every stimulus you give, a visual stimulus, an auditory stimulus, a sensory stimulus, in your nervous system evokes an action potential and a response. Every stimulus that you are perceiving evokes it. Now you say, why did you go on that tangent, Dr. Ananda? It's not a tangent. This is the exact reason why the nama is evoking the rupa. Because when the nama is the input, those areas in your consciousness, let's go from brain to consciousness. Those areas in your consciousness that need to be evoked are invoked. So the nama is the input, the invocation that then evokes, the invocation that evokes the manifestation in your consciousness. When you say Shiva, the Nama of Shiva, and you sing Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva 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 Shivaya, Shiva 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 Shivaya. In your consciousness, all the action potentials are happening. The Shiva consciousness is coming alive and Shiva consciousness is starting to manifest through you. You want the Vishnu consciousness? Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. You want the youthful energy of Subramanyam, Muruga, Kartikeya. Sharavana Bhava Shiva Kumara, Shanmuganada, Jai Jai Shanmuganada. Shanmuganadha, Jai Jai Shanmuganadha, Shanmuganadha, Jaya Jaya Shanmuganadha, Sharanam Sharanam Shanmuganadha, Sharanam Sharanam Shanmuganadha. And suddenly that youthful energy, that vibrancy of youth, of Kartikeya, Subramanya, Muruga comes alive through you because you have evoked that Rupa through your Nama. You want Shakti? Adipara Shakti, Adipara Shakti. She comes alive. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om. She comes alive. Kriya Shaktiyum, Micha Shaktiyum, Jnana Shaktiyum, Niye, Mahatripura Sundari, Taye, Adipara Shaktiyai, Manamagayum, Kriya Shaktiyum, Micha Shaktiyum, Jnana Shaktiyum, Niye, Kriya Shaktiyum, Micha Shaktiyum, Jnana Shaktiyum, Niye, Mahatripura Sundari, Taye, Adipara Shaktiyai, Manamagayum, Kriya Shaktiyum, Micha Shaktiyum, Jnana Shaktiyum, Niye. You have brought the three Shaktis of Kriya, Icha and Jnana, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati alive in you. Because of the Nama. The Nama has evoked the Rupa and those benevolent energies, those amazing energies that represent the Ida Pingala and Sushumna start to work through you. You become the divine. You become the divine. Those energies start to become you. You radiate those energies. You become those energies personified. Nama, Rupa. And when you call others by the proper Nama, you are evoking the proper Rupa in them. And I know people who have amazing names, and nobody calls them by those names. Now, if you don't call them by that name, that will not be evoked. And then you say, yes, I have that name, but I am not that. Yeah, because nobody ever calls you that name. They are so busy calling you Tommy, Dicky, Monkey, Donkey, whatever they call you. Huh? See, be very careful. Be careful what you call others. Be careful what you let others call you. Because that Nama Rupa is something that cannot be escaped. You say, oh, what does it matter? It matters. It matters. Huh? If calling somebody a prince makes them a prince, please call them a prince. Don't call them a pauper. Huh? Don't call them a beggar because they will become a beggar. They'll start to beg for everything in life. They'll become a pauper in all aspects. And this is why spirituality is of abundance. People have made a big mistake with that. Abundance is what life is all about. What do you wish to invoke? Because what you wish to invoke will be evoked in you. Nama Rupa. Nama, that vibrational essence. And that vibrational essence has been brought down into the human expression through the beautiful language of Samskrita. Technical language. The technical language where every sound has a potency. And another day will be on the Bija mantras because every Bija mantra has that potency. Just as in a seed lies the potential of an entire forest. In one seed, lies the potential of the whole forest. In that bija, the single unit seed sound, lies the potential of the whole universal experience. And that is the power of Nama that then manifests Rupa. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope that certain parts of your consciousness have opened up on the need to use the proper Nama. These are not labels. And when you translate it, it changes so weirdly. So weird. Mm. You take any of these names people have in India, we have beautiful names. Beautiful names are given to the young children so that you can evoke those. And later on, what happens is as the parent is calling the child those names, those qualities start to resonate through the parent and the child, creating a healthy society at all levels, physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. Never underestimate the power, because when you translate it, it doesn't do the same. It doesn't do the same. It's actually, it ends up very weird. If people were to translate the names and just use it, you would actually end up with some weird stuff. Weird stuff. So be very careful. Ignorance is not bliss in this way. People say, oh, I didn't know about it. My father used to say, ignorance of the law is no excuse in the court of law. So we have to gain jnana. We have to move from avidya to vidya. We have to move from ajnana to jnana, and that is where the role of the guru. Ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namah. Ajnanatimirandasya, blinded by ajnana. Ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya. Applying the collyrium, the kajal of jnana. What a beautiful vision. The Guru is coming and applying jnana to our eyes so that chakshurun militam yena, we can suddenly see, we can perceive as things are. That is why the greatness of the Guru Tattva. Ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Tasmai shri gurave namaha. Tasmai shri gurave namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. May you all have a wonderful day wherever you are. Be the best you. And remember, Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa. Be yourself. Be that absolute essence of divinity manifesting in you. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you. Grazie. Gratias. Mercy. Danke. Kio ora. Nandri. Vanakkam.